September 27, 1990.
It boldly goes where no sequel has gone before. You probably remember him as Bone.
I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer.
Tonight, the actor who played the surly doctor on the original Star Trek goes behind the scenes to explore the strange new world of The Next Generation.
From ABC News, with anchors Diane Sawyer in New York, Sam Donaldson in Washington, Chief Correspondent Chris Wallace, Judd Rose, and Jay Shadler. This is Prime Time.
Whoever would have thought that of all the constants in American life, the one that would have the most staying power would be a little television show from the 1960s called Star Trek. The show was even a bigger hit in reruns than it was the first time out. And now the sequel, Star Trek The Next Generation, is entering its 4th season. So we thought we'd ask DeForrest Kelley, the actor who played Dr. Leonard McCoy in the original series, and by the way, who's now 70, to work with us to help us explore this phenomenon. Stand by for a tour of Star Trek and ourselves, then and now.
Chief Medical Officer's log, stardate 9009.27. I am about to examine a strange new phenomenon. Something I thought was dead long ago has sprung to life. Nielsen sensors indicate it's called Star Trek The Next Generation is set in the 24th century, 85 years after the original series, with a new Enterprise, a new crew, and new adventures.
This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Federation vessel Enterprise.
The story of Star Trek's return to weekly television sounds like, well, like science fiction.
Mr. Spock, outfit a landing party.
When the program the networks didn't want ended up in reruns, it suddenly became a big hit. I was as surprised as anyone. Eventually, Paramount turned to Star Trek's creator. Once again.
I wondered about doing a new one, particularly when the fans first wrote in and say, if it doesn't have Kirk and Spock, it doesn't have me.
But when Gene created Star Trek The Next Generation, he made sure it had the same optimistic outlook as the first series. Remember in 1966, at the height of Cold War tensions, Star Trek showed us a hopeful future in which Asians, Soviets, Americans,
Yes, Captain.
and even a coldly logical alien all work together.
And that object on the screen?
In the crew of Star Trek The Next Generation, a Klingon, a villain on the original show, serves on the bridge. A teenager steers the ship. A special eye band enables the blind man to see.
Yeah, we got just 2 hours to figure this thing out.
The message is, you are a part of this family. That you do matter, you do count for something. You do have value.
If that sounds a little out of this world, let me tell you about one young black girl who grew up in very rough times. One of her role models and inspiration was Lieutenant Uhura. Proof to her that a black woman could do anything. That girl grew up to be Whoopi Goldberg. And last year, she asked for a recurring role in the new series. Perhaps to inspire yet another generation. Certainly the new show enjoys more creative freedom than we had. In my day, some things were as forbidden as crossing the neutral zone. This is how the original show suggested a romantic interlude. On The Next Generation, it doesn't take that much imagination. In fact, there's a holodeck where crew members can experience any pleasures that they can imagine.
I mean, how real are you?
As real as you need me to be.
Now there's a whole new meaning to close quarters aboard the Enterprise. When I worked on the original Star Trek, each episode cost less than $200,000. Each episode of The Next Generation cost 8 times that much. Well, with bigger budgets come more sophisticated special effects. Energize. This is stage 16, which the crew calls Planet Hell. No more cheap outside locations. Star Trek The Next Generation builds every set from scratch. Stage 16 is the biggest set on Paramount's lot. The sets here are much sturdier than the cardboard, foam, and tinfoil which sometimes held our sets together. By repainting, adjusting the camera angles, adding visual effects, Planet Hell can look completely realistic and completely different. Before the Enterprise can seek out new civilizations, the behind-the-scenes crew has to design them. It all starts at the production meeting.
No, it doesn't work in the cave. It certainly can work on this shot of them coming in.
The staff has just 7 working days to get everything ready for the next episode.
Our props all have to be designed and built. Our costumes all have to be designed and built. There's no research to look into to find out what people are wearing in the 24th century on a certain planet.
In wardrobe, when the script called for lots of aliens, they've had to stitch until sunrise. At least most Klingons can buy off the rack. In the makeup trailer, they've come a long way from just adding pointy ears. Let's take a look at it in warp speed.
The first time I was on the show, it was, the guy seemed ugly, you know, and real hideous. And he's kind of grown on me, you know. He's sort of like the Tom Selleck of Klingdom, you know what I mean?
In the lab, they're usually up to their ears in noses, eyes, and plaster molds.
And we're literally almost walking on the stage the day that the actor works with the rubber dripping and the paint wet.
Every computer readout, every graphic on the ship has to be designed. An upcoming script called for the Enterprise to be repaired in dry dock while orbiting Earth. Since no one knows what a 24th century dry dock really looks like, designs were simulated on a computer, then drawn by hand and converted into a plastic housing atop the 4-foot model of the Enterprise. A computer-controlled camera then filmed the ship against a special green mat, so the model can be superimposed later over a different background. Each of the ship's lighting systems were also filmed separately. Then everything is put together. First, a man-made field of stars. Next, a satellite photo of Earth. Film of the model is then superimposed over the picture, and finally the footage of all the lighting systems is layered on that. The final effect, which lasts just 14 seconds, took 2 days to complete and cost more than $10,000. Star Trek, both old and new, is more than just great stories and futuristic gadgets. It always had interesting characters. Now, my character, Dr. Leonard McCoy, is supposed to be abrasive.
Destination.
And impatient with mechanical devices.
Destination.
And I'm not really that way at all.
Destination.
Blast it! Well, the writers made a running gag out of my alleged irritability.
I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer.
I'm a doctor, not an escalator.
I'm a doctor, not a coal miner.
Guy walks into the doctor's office.
On The Next Generation, one running joke involves Data, an android, who is always trying to learn about human behavior.
Was that funny? No.
I decided to check out my old sick bay. Yates McFadden, who plays Dr. Beverly Crusher on the new series, showed me around. Her office is 3 times larger than mine. A tricorder looks better. It seems they've improved everything. When we were doing our show, we always had trouble with the doors. They're always closing on us, or we were bumping into each other, or bumping into the doors. I'm sure you've conquered that problem.
Yes, we've really come a long way. It took a lot of research. But now we do this.
Well, I'll be damned. The other thing that hasn't improved is the pace of doing Star Trek. In fact, it's gotten slower.
Action!
Working 12, 15 hours a day, 10 months a year, the cast struggles to get 6 minutes of an episode done each day. Still, at that rate, the number of Next Generation episodes will actually surpass the number of originals in just 2 more weeks. Now, you may be asking yourself what I'm often asked. Which show is better, the old or the new? Well, You might as well ask me if Matisse is better than Rembrandt, or if Da Vinci is more inventive than Edison, or the women of Rigel 9 more beautiful than the women of Talos 4. To me, each series stands on its own. Each captures the visions and dreams of its day. Almost 25 years after its maiden voyage, there's just no telling how far an enterprising idea will go.